Hello, hi, how are you? I hope you're well. Welcome back. My name's Bree, and today we're just going to be sitting and chatting a little bit about the four books that got me back into reading during my adult life, as well as the only 4 or 5 star reads that I can remember. And I say that just because I didn't really track ratings or anything like that until recently. So these ones are the ones that I would consider my only 5 star reads thus far. Now, the 4 books that we're going to be talking about during this video are nothing crazy, nothing groundbreaking. They're nothing new. These are extremely popular books in the book world, but they're important to me and they're the reason that I read now. So, before we get into those books, I did want to do a really quick little background of my reading journey, if you want to call it that, up until this point. So, I've always had an interest in reading and books in general. So, in elementary school, I always liked library days, free reading time, things like that. But it wasn't until middle school that I found books that I actually liked for my own personal taste. And those books were the Divergent series and the Hunger Games series. Those are the first books that I think really shifted reading from like in a favorite subject in school or time in school to like a hobby. I started reading a lot outside of school and during my personal time, and I always had a book from that point, basically all the way through high school and quickly after high school. I always had a book on me. I was always reading. I was reading in class when I was supposed to be paying attention, things like that. After high school, obviously, life catches up to you and it gets a little bit busy. So I just kind of stopped reading. I did not give myself time to read, but I still had interest in books. So I was still purchasing a lot of books and doing book shopping and just interested in, that side of it. But I wasn't giving myself time to actually read the books that I was getting. And then eventually I ended up getting sick. I got COVID. It hit me really hard. And from that point, I started getting really bad panic attacks and anxiety. It was the point where I couldn't like watch TV or movies or even read a lot of times because it would just literally induce a panic attack in me. So the only thing that I found that I could end up watching or, consuming that wasn't causing me anxiety was BookTube and watching people read and like reading vlogs and things like that. So that's kind of how I entered the BookTube world and that side of YouTube, which is now like my main form of entertainment. Obviously, I watch other stuff too, but yeah, BookTube is a huge deal to me. During that time, my anxiety subsided a little bit to the point where I could, do all the normal things again. Some of the creators that I was watching started talking about this first book, which is the book that I picked up that really got me back into reading, and the first book that we're going to be talking about. And that book is none other than Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This book, again, like I said, extremely popular. I feel like everybody knows what this book is at this point. If you don't, I would honestly be shocked. Honestly, be shocked. I absolutely love this book. It holds a very special place in my heart because this book is the book that really ignited that fire in me to start reading again. It is a romantasy. Hold on, people are being loud outside. Okay, hopefully you can't hear that. They just started doing yard work and stuff right outside my window. We love. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, right. If you don't know what Fourth Wing is about for whatever reason, it is basically a romantasy book. It is enemies to lovers. It has dragons. It has trials and challenges. It follows Violet Sorrengail and her journey going through the war college where she has to bond to a dragon, pass all these trials and challenges or whatever in order to succeed. And then there's also a subplot of like romance, which is where the enemies to lovers comes in. So it was just really entertaining. I found, especially when compiling these books for this video, that I have a very distinct taste in books. And it stems all the way back to middle school with the trials, the challenges, the romantasy, the, romance subplot, whatever you want to call it, however you want to put it. You will notice, at least in the first 3 books that we talk about, that they're basically all the same. Basically the same, different font. So absolutely love Fourth Wing. This book was amazing. This was one of the first books that I read when I first got back into reading, and it was the type of book, as well as the rest of these, that, when I wasn't reading it, all I was doing was thinking about reading it, and I just wanted to pick it up, and I had it with me at all times. I was reading it on my lunch break, during any free time that I had, literally always picking it up. And yeah, this was just this one is definitely special because, like I said, really kicked off the reading for me. Second book on this list is going to be Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Again, a 5-star read for me. Absolutely love this book. This is one of the books, the very few books that I've actually pushed on other people to read. There are not a lot of people in my personal life that are readers. I only have two close friends that actually read regularly. And this was one of the books, as well as the next book, that I was like, you need to read it. You need to pick it up. We need to talk about it. I need to know your thoughts. Yeah, again, a very popular read, very popular book, and for good reason. I love this book so much. If you're someone who doesn't know what Powerless is, it is basically a YA romantasy book that has an enemies to lovers trope in it, as well as different trials and challenges that people have to face. So the book follows Peyton Gray, who is an ordinary in a world full of elites. The elites have powers and the ordinaries do not. And basically, the king of this area wants it to be a kingdom full of elites. Peyton ends up finding herself in the, I think it's called the Purging Trials. It's basically a challenge to display the elite's powers and like the strongest of the strong or whatever. So she has to compete in these trials as an ordinary, posing as an elite. So we get to follow her story and her journey in these trials, trying to survive. And throughout that, she also has a little romance thing going on with our male main character in this book, which is probably why I love this book so much. This book literally made me feel like a little girl. This book had me kicking my feet, giggling, like literally outside. Whoa, that was hard to say. Like out loud, giggling. Like, oh my god, I love this book so much. And this is one of the very few books in ever that I want to reread and I want to annotate and write notes in and do all the things because I absolutely love this book. It's so cute. I love it. Love, love, love. Yeah, that's Powerless. The third book on this list, Light Lark by Alex Astor. Also a pretty popular book. I don't know if it's quite as popular as the first two, but very popular. Kind of similar concept, and it is an enemies to lovers. It kind of has a love triangle. There are trials and challenges and things that the characters have to face. If you don't know what Light Lark is about, it is about this island called Light Lark that appears every 100 years for 100 days, and all of the rulers of the different lands have to compete to basically try and break the curse of Light Lark that they're all kind of falling into. We follow our main character through her journey through these challenges. She is one of the leaders of one of these lands and for some reason doesn't have any power. Pretty good. I love this book and I'm really excited to read the most recent book of it. Okay, so those are the first three books, the three big books that got me into reading again. All of these books kind of have a similar concept. This last book is a little bit different, but I did want to include it because it was a 5-star read for me. And this book also introduced me into a more adult side of romance. This book is Flawless by Elsie Silver. Absolutely love Elsie Silver. She's now one of my all time favorite authors and probably one of my most, actually, is my most read author ever. I love her books. They're amazing. They combine the spice and the actual plot lines and character development, etc. so perfectly. And she's just such a great writer. I love her book. This is the first book of hers that I did pick up, which is why it probably ended up a 5-star. But it was also just exactly what I was looking for at the time. This is my first small town romance, my first cowboy romance, and my first Elsie Silver book. And it just checked all of the boxes for what I wanted out of this book. It was so good. Oh yeah, I forgot to say what it was about. It's a small town cowboy romance where you follow Summer and Rhett. Summer is sent to basically babysit Rhett in a way because he found himself in some sort of scandal, and she has to make sure that he doesn't get himself into any more trouble. So throughout that, we get to watch their relationship develop. It's super good. I love it. I would recommend any of the 4 books on this list. These are all of my 5-star reads, and yeah, I kind of sped through that, but my throat hurts a little bit and I don't feel like talking too much anymore. And I'm sorry if you can hear it as well. But yeah, those are my 4 books that got me back into reading, my 4 5-star reads that I can remember up until this day. I haven't had a 5-star read so far in 2026, but I'm really excited to see how the rest of the year goes. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me. And let me know down in the comments what book got you back into reading. What are your thoughts on these books that we talked about today? And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully, I will see you in the next one and future ones. Bye.